Guantanamo. Or Gitmo.
Stop it, Brian. Gitmo. My gosh. Gitmo. The guy is now a member of the Fourth Estate. Y'all are piling on the guy. I love him, and I'm for him, not against him. He's a very, very, very good broadcaster. He probably ain't going to appear on here, but I love him. Jared, if you're listening, you're a fellow Paisan. There's only two kinds of people in this world, Paisans and those that want to be. William Patterson ain't a Paisan, but boy, he wants to be. He's up next with the Playbook.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
Oh, yeah. So.
And here we go. Live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios, it's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio with Brett Hunlander, Alex Sarkis, and Garrett Armbrust. I'm William Patterson. We appreciate you listening along with us on this fine Wednesday from Knoxville, Tennessee. And we've got plenty to cover over the next 2 hours, including Tennessee in the tournament. Tonight, in the first four, you get to see who Tennessee will go up against in the round of 64 on Friday. Miami, Ohio, and SMU doing battle in Dayton tonight. So we'll have an opportunity to break down the actual matchup beginning tomorrow. But again, tonight, Tennessee meets their match. So we'll talk about that. Also talk about some other storylines for the Volunteers heading into the tournament, especially with Nate Ament and Jacoby Gillespie, the two guys that have seemed to be the engine for this team all year long. Are they good enough as a duo to help this team win 6 games in a row, which what Tennessee would have to do in order to win the national title this year? We'll talk about that. And then also a little bit later on, we'll discuss Tennessee baseball on the diamond, getting a midweek win over Eastern Kentucky yesterday. And then in hour number 2, it's all about the madness. I will reveal my March Madness bracket packet that I always do. And, Brett was giving a couple of jabs before we were going. He was saying, I'm trying to understand all this mess.
Yeah.
It's not mess, Brett. It is It is proven, it is statistical, it is analytical, and it's worked 3 years in a row, at least in terms of finding your national champion. I've got it. There's one team that can do it this year. I've got it for you. We'll talk about that in hour 2. And then we'll also discuss the rest of the tournament overall outside of what I think and at least what my bracket packet says. We'll discuss the teams that are trending in the right direction, not playing their best basketball right now, maybe some upset candidates in the round of 64, plenty to cover around an hour 2. So if you're still trying to fill out your bracket, figure out which teams you're going to place in the $1 million or $1 billion Kalshi bracket, as Jackson was talking about yesterday, we've got you covered in hour 2. So loaded edition of the Playbook today. So happy you're here. If you're on that YouTube live stream, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any Fan Run content. And if you're listening on the app or on a podcast or just cruising around Knoxville, we also appreciate your time. But before we get into the action, let's welcome in the rest of the crew, beginning with Brett. Brett, how are you today?
Doing well. Long night. I had the basketball on as well as the WBC. Disappointed in that. The outcome of that, but it was an epic tournament and stuff like that. And, I'm interested in hearing more about this bracket packet. It's 6 pages worth of notes. It's very extensive, but hard work, I'm sure, is put into that. But, I'm interested in learn more about this bracket packet thing you gave us. It's like getting the answers to the test, isn't it?
It pretty much is, yes. And,
a study guide, I guess.
Well, so here's the thing. You guys are very lucky to be able to receive it. I don't give it out.
I thought at first when I saw it glance up, you were just giving us your bracket.
No. This is just help. I don't give it out. ahead of time because I'm in a lot of pools and I don't want to give anyone else a competitive advantage. So if any of my friends ask for that, do not give it to them, please, because I'm trying to win our 3 or 4 different bracket pools.
Win them all. Bragging rights.
And that is 3 to 4 years worth of data that we have collected. There are a couple of new additions this year, but always looking to tinker with it. But again, if you look at the top, the reference of historic, what has happened in the last 3 years, bang, bang, bang. Yeah. And we also list it on the other criteria as well. So you're very lucky to get it, Brett. Very lucky. Garrett, how are you today?
Yeah, doing good. As Brett said, busy night in sports last night. Fun ending to the WBC. Obviously not the ending the U.S. was looking toward. But with those Venezuelan fans, I mean, you got to be a little bit happy for them. The Bryce Harper home run was almost probably one of the sports moments of the year if they didn't end up giving a run back up in the 8th inning after that. But, yeah, I mean, it was a good night. Basketball, obviously, NC State, Texas. Possibly the worst announced basketball game I've ever heard in my life.
That was hard.
Brian Anderson completely losing his voice. Charles Barkley talking about anything but basketball. And then
so random.
Dick Vitale. I mean, I love the guy, and I don't know how many more games we're going to get of him announcing college basketball, but unfortunately he was not much better. Him and Charles were just going off on tangents about NIL and the NHL, how much they were enjoying that this season. And I mean, the game on the court wasn't exactly the best. Kind of a very sloppy game back and forth. But Texas prevails, and they'll face BYU. So I think BYU is going to get through that one. I was a little bit higher on NC State coming into that game, but we'll see what happens. Even the first game, the UMBC, that was a fun game. They had kind of a clean look at the end to tie it. Did not make it, but they got the ball to their best player, and he just missed a 3 at the end of the game. But that was a good game as well.
Garrett had a banger tweet last night talking about that broadcast because I do like Brian Anderson, but obviously he was hoarse as can be last night. And then Vitale and Barkley are great on their own.
Yeah.
But, man, that was a collision course last night. And also, you can just tell that that's a group that has no chemistry together in calling a game. Like,
one's trying to do his job.
Exactly.
And the other two are just talking gibberish.
Well, and there were a couple of tweets like this last night, but Garrett got some good traction on it. If you don't mind me reading it, is that okay?
Yeah.
Garrett says Brian Anderson trying to announce the NC State announce the game, saying, quote, NC State collects the rebound, and then Charles Barkley goes, NIL is ruining college athletics. Brian Anderson goes, Texas takes a 3 and misses, and then Barkley goes, I've been really loving the NHL this season. Man, Texas should be up. There was another one I saw, too, that was pretty good. Dickie V goes, they never should have fired Keats, referencing NC State's old coach. Chuck says, my golf ball is now inside an alligator's mouth. And then I'm staring at this alligator like, hold on, man, that's a Pro V1. I look at my buddies and say, what's the ruling here? I just got robbed. And then Brian Anderson goes, loose ball foul on Pope. Just perfectly encapsulated. And I probably didn't read that off correctly. I was laughing through half of it. But regardless, that was a bit of a tough broadcast. I do like Charles. I think he's hilarious. Dickie V, a little bit past his prime, but obviously he's a legend. But that wasn't
tough. Even the worst sports media moment of the day yesterday. There was some guy on a sports talk radio in New York yesterday, and he was talking about
Zuby.
Yeah, he was talking about Ejiofor.
Oh, you commented on
that. He goes, he transferred out of Kansas because he was tired of sitting behind Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid hadn't played at Kansas in a decade.
Yeah,
he said he was referring to
and
Hunter
Embiid
Dickinson.
didn't even play in college, like he was hurt.
He said he was referring to Hunter Dickinson instead, but I don't even know if that adds up.
Because Dickinson, or he would make more sense than saying Joel Embiid.
But Joel Embiid's been in the league since 2014.
Yeah. Mike Francesco or whatever his name is.
So that was ridiculous. But credit to him for calling him out. And Alex, how are you? Happy to have you back. Long time no see. How was spring break and how you doing?
Yeah, it's good to be back, boys. Spring break was great. I ran into Garrett at the Floribama. It was kind of an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
Garrett comes up behind me, and so it was good to have a little fan-run connection at the Floribama in Orange Beach. But, yeah, it was doing great. We've been busy covering baseball. Busy year for basketball. We're driving to Philly tomorrow, so we're loaded, but we're loving it. So good to be back.
autographs and photos with the Fan Run crew at Floribama.
We should have gotten a picture.
Yeah,
We should have.
We should have.
Yeah, put that on the social. Spring break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably would have been.
I got a photo of Brent Key in there.
There you go. Yeah, probably would have been a little bit of a late night post, but
Yeah,
hey,
it
that's
would have
part
been.
of it. That's
Yeah.
part of spring break. Well, let's get into it. Going dancing, our first things first topic for Tennessee. And reminder, join us at Barley's on Friday for the official Fan Run Radio Watch Party. We'll be broadcasting live from 1 to 3. The drive will follow us up from 3 to around 4:15-ish because Tennessee basketball gets things started in the tournament at 4:25 against the winner of Miami of Ohio or SMU. So make sure to join us at Barley's. Going to be a great time. It's Friday. Loosen up the tie. Get off work a little bit early. You're not doing anything Thursday and Friday anyway due to the tournament, so you might as well come off work a little bit early. But for the 28th time in program history, the University of Tennessee men's basketball team is headed back to the tournament, and this is the 8th consecutive appearance for the Volunteers, extending their best streak ever. And all 8 trips have featured a seed of 6 or better. Tennessee comes into the tournament as the 25th ranked team in the AP poll, and at 22-11 on the season, 11-7 in SEC play during the regular season overall. And they received a 6th seed in the Midwest region, as it was revealed on Sunday, and they will play the winner of Miami of Ohio, one of the most polarizing teams in college basketball this season, 31-1 on the season, 18-0 in MAC play, but they did lose in the conference tournament. And on the other side, it's number 11 seeded SMU, 20-13 on the year, 8-10 in ACC play. And that matchup tonight in Dayton, Ohio, between the Red Hawks and Mustangs. Winner will get the Volunteers at Xfinity Mobile Arena in Philadelphia on Friday, and that tip is set for 4:25 p.m. Eastern time. And yesterday we discussed, since the first 4 was added, outside of 2019 and 2025, there's always been a first 4 team to advance. I believe that's going to be a Texas over BYU, but you have to keep that in mind as well, that it could be Tennessee, because it's very unlikely that a 16 seed is going to beat one of these really strong 1 seeds. And it very well could happen to where no first 4 team advances to the round of 32. But after not having it last year, it does seem like it is due to happen once again this season. And in tonight's matchup between the Red Hawks and Mustangs, what are you guys watching for? Because to me, I want to see what Miami, Ohio looks like up against a power conference opponent. There's been so much talk this year about whether Miami of Ohio should make it as an at-large, or if Miami, Ohio is really as good as their record says. But now they've got the opportunity to prove it, and that's why they were put in the first 4. And then for SMU, it's where is this team right now? They're 4-6 in their last 10, had a really bad end to ACC play, not a team that's been successful outside of their own building, only 5 wins on the year outside of SMU, and I want to see what they look like in terms of health as well. Do we see B.J. Edwards in action, the Knox Catholic standout and Knoxville native and former Tennessee guard? Does he play tonight, returning from injury for the first time since late February? Those are the things I'm watching for tonight. And regardless of who wins, I still feel comfortable with Tennessee in that first round matchup, that round of 64 matchup. But again, either of these teams could find a little bit of momentum, and they're playing in a tournament setting that could help them out in that first game on Friday. But again, I feel comfortable with either team, but that's what I'm watching for each specifically tonight. Garrett, to you, Red Hawks, Mustangs, what are you watching for tonight in anticipation for Friday's matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Red Hawks' physicality is going to be the main thing here. Can they go up and get rebounds against an ACC opponent? Hold Boopy Miller, he averages 19 a game. Jared Pierre Jr. averages 17 a game. And then obviously if you have B.J. Edwards play, you have 3 guys. Really, they have 5 guys on their court that average over 10 points per game. Can Miami of Ohio stop that? You've seen a lot in the MAC games that they've played this year. They get in these high-scoring shootouts where it's 95-94, and they win the game in the last minute. And while that's been something that's worked for them in the MAC, I don't know that that's a sustainable recipe in the NCAA tournament, obviously. I think it's good for them that they've gone into close games and they've won in overtime and they've won on last-second shots. But, I mean, let's face it, this is going to be their most difficult test of the season. I think the game being in Dayton does help them. I mean, you would expect the Redhawks to travel. I would expect there to be a lot of Miami of Ohio fans there. But I don't know. It just comes down to the physicality. Can they stop a Boopy Miller and not let him score 25 points? Can they get rebounds? You look at the statistics, SMU rebounds the ball a little bit better than they do, and that's going up against ACC teams. I've been a proponent that Miami of Ohio should be in the tournament. I think if you go 31-0 in the regular season, no matter what league you play in, you should be able to play in the tournament. But this is their test. I think the first four for them is where they should be, and this is going to be their biggest test and see what they can do defensively. Because I think if they get in a high-scoring shootout, they're not going to be able to win.
Now, Brett, you feel more confidently about one team in this matchup tonight, that being SMU. What are you watching for out of them as you anticipate this is going to be a little bit of a lopsided affair?
I think it's more so to what you're saying, like the BJ Edwards and I think the other guy, Washington, who are both questionable. And I just want to see SMU more at full strength. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't watch much of SMU basketball this year, much less the ACC, unless Duke was playing or somebody, Virginia, somebody like that. But, I mean, it's just, Miami, Ohio is a quality basketball team. You're not 31-1 without being a quality basketball team. They have 7 players that average double figures, which is kind of crazy. You don't see that ever. It should be a fun game, if anything. I think it could be an up and down affair. A lot of 3 balls being shot, But I think to Garrett's point, just the physicality, I think, is going to be a little bit too much. And for Miami, Ohio to overcome tonight. SMU's got a big that's 7'2", that does pretty well, moves well. So it's going to be a tough night, I think, overall for Miami, Ohio. But I think as a Tennessee fan, I think you're pulling for Miami, Ohio in this one. I don't want to see SMU in the first round.
Now, Alex, you're getting ready to head to Philadelphia. One of these teams will be up against the Volunteers in that matchup. What are you looking for between the Redhawks and Mustangs in the first 4 in Dayton tonight?
Well, first, I just want to start by saying I think we all agree that, it's a good thing Miami, Ohio is in this tournament.
Yeah.
And I think, them being in the first 4 is a good solution for, being such a polarizing team. But, not having played a quad 1 game all year, now you've got SMU. And Brett mentioned that 7'2" big. That's a big deal. And, that's probably going to be one of the biggest guys they've played against all year. So it's all about the physicality. How are they going to match up? How are they going to look? And I think that's the question that really the nation is asking tonight. So same goes for me. I mean, how does Miami, Ohio look? How do they defend Boopy? Like, that's what you're going to have to look at, especially, if you're Rick Barnes and you're Tennessee getting ready for this game, you're definitely probably rooting for Miami, Ohio, because I don't know if you want to see Jalen Carey go against a 7'2" big. That's, something that I think you might want to look forward to or not look forward to if you're Tennessee should SMU win this one tonight. But I think it'll be a closer game than some people might think, just because of the way that Miami, Ohio scores the basketball and they get in these shootouts that sometimes, I think they played 3 or 4 games this season where they're in the hundreds in overtime. So some crazy games and first fourths of it's March. So, it's prone to do that kind of thing. But yeah, just it's a good barometer for Miami, Ohio, I think.
And we already got a dose of March last night. Texas forgot how to play basketball in the final 2 minutes, and NC State marched all the way back. You never know what can happen, and that truly is what March Madness is all about. But tonight, the Redhawks are 7.5-point underdogs to the Mustangs, yet public and professional bettors are slamming the Redhawks right now in anticipation to have that number come down a little bit more. Believe it was around 8.5 or 9.5 at one more.
You got the 9.5.
It did not.
I think it did. I think it did. Yeah.
So I think so. Back to 7.5. That means there is a lot of bets and tickets coming in on the Redhawks to make this one a little bit closer. I think a lot of that is due to the way SMU has finished the season, also the unknown at a couple of positions in terms of injury, but. The Volunteers went 1-1 in the SEC tournament last week at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. Seeded 5th, Tennessee opened play Thursday with a 72-62 win over Auburn, in which they had a 20-0 run, and Nasty Nate came alive with 27 points to help the team rally from a 10-point deficit with under 11 minutes to go. But then the next day, the Commodores took the season series win over Tennessee, despite Jacoby Gillespie having 21 points. It was a 75-68 loss for the Volunteers against the Commodores. And you have a really strong performance from Nate against Auburn, bottled up against Vanderbilt. Gillespie didn't necessarily have to do everything against Auburn, but he did get in foul trouble pretty early in that one. So that then allowed Nate Ament and kind of forced Nate Ament to be a bigger player, have a bigger role. But you haven't really seen these guys consistently put it together in the same game. Now, there have been opportunities for that throughout the year, and I believe it was a couple of weeks. I mean, it was within the last 8 games where you had the two combined for like 36 points. Can't remember the exact game. It might have been Oklahoma. But you need those guys to be good at the same time in order to march all the way to Indianapolis for the Final Four. And can Tennessee rely on those two guys to be good every single night is a question that I think Tennessee fans have to ask. Can they be consistent enough to win 6 games in a row, Garrett?
I mean, I don't think winning 6 games in a row for this team is on the board for anybody. I think you could put Grant Williams on this team and they wouldn't win 6 games in a row. But no, I mean, I think one thing about Gillespie in the Vanderbilt game was it seemed like he found his stroke from 3 a little bit. And it seemed like the last month of the season, his 3-point shooting had obviously kind of tanked on him. Wasn't shooting the ball very efficiently from beyond the arc. I feel like if he's shooting the ball well from 3, that kind of adds a layer to your offense that you didn't have for the last 7 to 8 games of the season. And then Ament, obviously, I mean, kind of up and down. You saw what he did in the Auburn game, completely takes over the second half. And then the Vandy game doesn't really score any points outside of free throws. So I don't know that you can rely completely on those guys. I mean, as you said, you've had games where it's happened. I think, whatever it was, the Oklahoma game, some game, later in the season when they both went off. Obviously, you saw it back in November at the Players Era tournament against Rutgers. They both had a very good game in the same game. But I don't think that you're going to be able to see that in multiple games in a row. I think one guy's going to carry the load in one, maybe another guy carries the load in another. I don't know. I just think it comes down, you don't have enough shooters on this team. You don't have guard play that's good enough on this team where if one of those is off, you get scoring from somebody else. You've got it from your bigs at certain parts of the season from Okpara and JP, but I just don't think you have another guard that's able to make enough threes and be able to continue the scoring if you get in a shootout with a team. Because I don't think you're ever going to get blown out by a team. I think Tennessee could play Michigan, and it would be a single-digit game. You'd be in it for most of the game. I just don't think that you're able to keep up with them if they go on a scoring run. That's the biggest issue for this team, in my opinion.
Yeah, and runs are a theme of March. Guard play, runs, and how you handle that type of stuff is usually pretty big. And it's gotten Tennessee in years past. I go back to 2024 against Florida Atlantic. That was a team that was obviously on a Cinderella run, but for the Volunteers, the better team, led for much of that game, and then in the final 8 minutes have a huge scoring drought, and then the Owls take it away and advance to the Elite Eight. So scoring runs and guard play is big, a lot of other characteristics as well, but those runs could be something that Tennessee falls victim to, especially up against a talented offensive team. Alongside the Volunteers in this pod are the Virginia Cavaliers, a team that has really been strong this year and year one under Ryan Odom. Number 10 ranked team in the country, 29-5 on the season, 15-3 in ACC play. They're the number 3 seed. They're taking on 14-seeded Wright State in that first round matchup, round of 64 matchup, I should say. And Wright State comes in at 23-11, 15-5 in the Horizon League. They were the Horizon League champions, and that's why they're in the tournament. And yesterday we covered, those last 10 games for each team, the momentum that you have riding into the tournament. We'll do it once again. Tennessee 6-4, Miami of Ohio 9-1, SMU 4-6, Virginia 8-2, Wright State 8-2. And we discussed the other teams yesterday. I want to more so focus on Tennessee now. Alex, to you, where does Tennessee sit heading into the tournament to you? Because right now, for me, I don't think it's down. I don't think it's up. I think it's neutral. Because if this tournament started in the middle of February, this is one of the hottest teams in the country. But then you kind of regress back to the mean. And I think you also have to be situational in a couple of these matchups, because against Alabama, you probably beat the Tide if Nate Ament's able to finish that game. And maybe if Cade Phillips is available and at your disposal, in those final 2 to 3 moments of the game, for a JP Estrella switch off or whatever, that game could have gone differently. Now against Missouri, T.O. Barrett tees off, and he had no answer for that. Against Vanderbilt, no answer in the SEC tournament for Duke Miles. But I will say this isn't a team that I would say is trending down, and the metrics back that up. Was looking at Bartorvik last night. Tennessee about the same level where they were throughout the first part of the season and also in the last month. But to you, Alex, where does Tennessee stand right now?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I think neutral is a great place to put them. I mean, you look at the Auburn game. I think that 20-0 run was, up there in the best basketball that they've played all season. Now, the ironic part is, without that 20-0 run, they probably don't win that game.
Yeah.
And then you have a Vanderbilt game where Vanderbilt was the better team. They shot the ball better. Duke Miles doesn't miss a shot for, the first 3 quarters of that game. So, yeah. I mean, it's hard to kind of gauge it. It's certainly not up, but I think neutral is where you would put it. And it's really all surrounding Nate Ament. And that's the thing. Like, we've seen him quiet in the first half like he was against Vanderbilt at other times this season. And, you start to question the health. And I know he said after the game that the leg felt fine. He said he was having some stomach issues pregame, but obviously he was not himself in that Vanderbilt game. So they need him to be himself if they want to make any kind of run. And so it depends on what he does. So I think neutral, you have to put him there just because of the way that, the last handful of weeks have gone, whether they have Nate Ament or not. But they're going to need to play like they played on that 20-0 run to do anything close, get anywhere close to an Elite Eight.
Yeah. Because
this is not, these are tournament teams. This is not, the bottom half of the SEC. So you're going to have to rely on really elite basketball to make it to an elite stage. So it's neutral.
You mentioned those stomach issues. The Big Arch promo, that's not going to help.
Yeah,
and also the whole team having a Sonic
Mac,
promo. That's not going to help either.
And Gillespie, they were doing gas station food testing at Weigel's.
What are we
the other
doing
day.
here?
Not the week to be doing it. Keep those bowels clean,
We're going to
boys.
Philly. What's next? Philly cheesesteaks up there?
Now, Philly cheesesteaks are good. One of my favorite sandwiches.
Yeah, but they're not
Eugene's
good.
or Pat's guy in Philly. Have
I've
been to
never
Philly?
been.
Oh,
I've
okay.
never been.
I got you.
I know the Philly from Firehouse,
From Subway.
and Mike and
Jersey Mike.
Jersey
Yeah.
Mike's. But I do love Phillies.
They are good.
Volunteers coming off back-to-back Elite Eight trips under Barnes reached the regional final in both 2024 and 2025. Alabama and Duke, the only other 2 teams to achieve that feat during that same timeline. And this is Tennessee's 8th consecutive NCAA tournament appearance. Rick Barnes has changed the way this program is viewed, but the last thing on that checklist is a Final Four and obviously a national championship, but a Final Four has never been done at the University of Tennessee. Rick Barnes making his 30th appearance in the NCAA tournament, tying Roy Williams, the late, great Roy Williams at North Carolina. Maybe not late, great, but former North Carolina coach. Only behind Coach K from Duke and Jim Boeheim from Syracuse for all-time tournament appearances. He's done it all, but he hasn't taken this Tennessee team to the Final Four yet. Will Barnes make it this season, Brett? I think you're a great guy to ask for this one. Will he make it this year? And if not, will he ever at Tennessee?
Not this year. And it's hard to answer the question. It's really hard to make a Final Four if somebody like Barnes can't make it. I mean, I'm going to say no. I just don't know. I just don't know if he's going to be here long enough to do it. And it's just really hard to do. He's had a couple of really good teams, and the bracket didn't fall our way. We lost to 2 really good teams and stuff like that the last 2 seasons. So I'm gonna say no. I don't think he gets us over the hump, and I hate saying that, but just that's the way it is. It's just hard to do, and just might not be something he accomplishes in his career.
My thing, I was saying this last night because the transfer portal's coming up and there's some names popping around. I was thinking, if Barnes decides, next year's my last year, if I'm Danny White, I'm saying, tell me what you need. And just let's make it one last bit, like the end of a show, the final season, just put it all in for 1 year. I feel like that could still happen. I'm not saying Barnes' last year is next year, by the way. I'm not,
No.
That's going to be up to him. And who knows? It could be this year because no one
You
really
never
knows.
know. I mean, Pearl just jumped ship right before the
Well,
season.
I don't think Barnes is going to do something like that.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
it comes out of nowhere. You
Yeah.
just don't know when the time is. Tony Bennett, like, you just don't know.
Now, I don't anticipate from, knowing what I know right now heading into next season, I don't think that's going to be his last year or this is going to be his last year because, they're already beginning to get ready for next season. But if I'm Danny White and I know this is his final year, I kind of loosen the wallet up a little bit. Maybe take a $10 million chunk off maybe instead of 2 more floors of that hotel next to Neal and we take 2 off and give it to the basketball team type of deal.
Yeah.
I would love for him to get one.
Got to get competent guard play.
And that'd be a great way for him to go out too. Leave on a high note. And I mean, if you pay for the team, they'll be good, unless you're Kentucky.
I mean, you don't need the top of the top guys. You need just to get some shooters in here.
Well,
along with scores, but I'm just saying, like, shootings, you got to have some shooting out there.
What I think is really valuable is getting a guy that could go the draft and keeping him in college. Yaxel Lindenborg at Michigan's an example. He should be in the NBA right now. Mm-hmm. And imagine this. Cedric Coward, should
have been a
dazzling rookie for the Grizzlies this year. My Memphis Grizzlies, not much to cheer about, but Cedric Coward's been good. He's been great. He's been great.
I thought you said you're dazzling Grizzlies.
Dazzling. He's had a dazzling season.
Gotcha,
dazzling rookie season.
Got you. Yeah.
Grizzlies aren't dazzling much anymore. Everyone's gone. I mean, everyone's hurt now.
Yeah.
Just everyone's got a season-ending surgery popping up every week now. Regardless, Cedric Coward committed to Duke. He was going to play for that Duke team. Can you imagine they had him? I mean, I think that's a big thing for Michigan. Like having a player like Yaxel Lindenborg is valuable. And be able to keep a guy from going to the draft and say, let's stay in college one more year.
It's easy to do these days.
Yeah. Those are the type of guys I would be trying to pull that. But all right, when we come back, we'll flip over to the Diamond. Still plenty of March Madness talk to be done in hour 2. But we got to talk Tennessee baseball because they get back in the win column yesterday following a tough loss on Sunday to the Georgia Bulldogs. And got a SEC weekend series against Missouri this week. Needed some momentum. We'll break down how Tennessee did it yesterday and how that goes into the next weekend with a little bit of momentum. We'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
What kind of day is it? It's a White Claw day. Grab a pack, grab your friends. Everything else in life can wait. Your friends shouldn't. Let's go. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
Ball fans, reimagine your home at Broadway Carpets and Flooring for any remodeling or building needs. With a variety of carpets, rugs, hardwood, vinyl, and stone, Broadway has all the flooring and installation options you're looking for, including pet-resistant products like Pet Perfect Carpet from Shaw Floors. Visit their showroom in downtown Knoxville or the location in West Knoxville located on Kingston Pike near Pellissippi Parkway today.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game, Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Smoky Mountain Brewery is the place to be for game day. From the moment you walk in, it's wall-to-wall big screens, making Smoky Mountain Brewery the perfect place to watch the Vols or your favorite team in action. With locations in Turkey Creek, Maryville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, you're never far away from a great time at Smoky Mountain Brewery. Try one of their world-famous microbrews like Black Bear Ale, Mountain Light, or Cherokee Ale. Juicy burgers, wings that bring the heat, and delicious handmade pizzas made with hand-tossed crust from the freshest ingredients and their own special sauce from a secret recipe, topped off with hand-grated cheese and farm-fresh toppings. And don't forget, those famous microbrews are also available in kegs for your next party or in 6-packs and growlers to go. So grab your crew and head to Smoky Mountain Brewery and tell them Fan Run Radio sent you. Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
The voluntary reaction.
Can't get enough Tennessee basketball? Join Fan Run Radio as soon as every UT game is over for Big Orange Country's post-game radio free-for-all. The voluntary reaction. We'll be taking your calls on the Vols as soon as every game is over. So tune in and buckle up as we drink from the keg of glory all the way to the Final Four.
The voluntary reaction. Raw, unfiltered, real.
Hey, Vols fans, Cody Brown here. I grew up right here in Tennessee and know what it means when someone says, I've got your back. That's why you can trust Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Whether it's your home, your vehicle, your family's future, or the business you built from the ground up, we will show up for all of your insurance needs. We are Tennesseans who understand what matters, which is doing right by you. Insurance is not all about just paperwork and policies, but it's about the people we insure every day. So if you want insurance that hits home, give me a call at 865-992-3871. Go Vols.
Podcast, whatever it may be. Keep it locked in here on Fan Run Radio. Let's switch it over to Tennessee baseball as number 21 Tennessee found itself back in the win column with a 10-3 victory over Eastern Kentucky on Tuesday afternoon at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. The Big Orange raced out to a 5-0 lead with a 5-run second inning that featured RBI hits from Levi Clark, Trent Gillinger, and Garrett Wright. And UT added another run in the fourth and two apiece in the sixth and seventh innings to reach the 10-run mark for the sixth time this season. And we'll get into some of those top performers. Grinlinger had a career day at the plate after finishing 3 for 3 with a triple, 2 runs scored, and 2 RBIs. The freshman from California was a late addition to the starting lineup and made the most of his opportunity after Henry Ford had to miss Tuesday's contest with an illness. Maybe he had some of those big arch burgers with Nate Ament. But Manny Marin also had another strong offensive performance, posting his 6th straight multi-hit effort after going 2 for 4 with a homer and a pair of RBIs. Levi Clark and Blaine Brown joined Grinlinger and Marin as Vols, who drove in multiple runs for the game, while Jay Abernathy had an impressive day. A guy we were talking about yesterday needed a little bit of a boost. He had 2 hits and 2 runs scored, so good for him, finding a little bit of momentum heading into the Missouri weekend. And Taylor Tracy added to his string of solid outings on the mound, tossing 2.1 scoreless innings to start the game. The freshman lefty allowed just 1 hit and struck out 4 batters in his 3rd start of the season. And right-handed reliever Brady Frederick picked up his team-leading 4th victory of the season with 1.1 shutout frames, retiring all batters he faced while striking out a pair. And the Vols used 9 different pitchers in Tuesday's win, 5 of which did not allow a hit or an earned run. So that pitching staff continues to excel in the midweek, and you expect that because this is a talented team, a lot of talented arms, but also when you've got guys like Frederick coming in, you anticipate that very unique style is going to pair well up against a team like Eastern Kentucky that isn't used to seeing stuff like that. But we'll get into that matchup for Tennessee and Missouri here in a moment. But Alex, you were most likely there, right? You were there covering? Yes. There.
I need to teach you this box score, how to read it.
Me?
I hate how you say 2.1.
2 point. What am I?
2 1/3.
2 1/3. Okay.
Yeah,
2
we'll
1/3
get you
innings
there.
of work.
2.1.
Well, I'm just going off of
I know it says that on the box
I'm just
score,
going off of what the SID hands to me.
No, it's fine. I'm just trying to help you.
2
out.
1/3 scoreless innings.
Doesn't that just sound better?
Well, I work in numbers. 2.1, 2.2.
Okay.
But I will correct it moving forward. I do apologize. Errors
No, you're
and
good.
omissions.
You're good.
Outside of the technique on my verbiations, Alex, your takeaways from yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, Manny Marin's on fire. He's got a 7-game hitting streak. You mentioned it, 6 straight multi-hit games. I mean, they've been waiting for him to heat up. He struggled at the beginning of the year, and he's got 7 runs driven in over his past 4 games, I think. So he's rolling, and that's a guy that you love to see in the middle of that infield getting hot at the plate. Pretty pedestrian pitching day, I would say. I mean, you expect the pitching to have, good success against a lesser lineup. They did hit 5 guys, which,
Crazy.
I mean, they've hit 29 guys on the season this year. And I think they hit somewhere in the 50s last year. But that's kind of a weird bugaboo of this pitching staff that has emerged early this year. So we'll see if they can cut down on that. Taylor Tracy was good. He hit 3 guys. And then Braden Krenzel came on, who had a rough outing over the weekend. And he was brought in to get the last out of yesterday's game and had some trouble getting that. He hit a guy and had some men on. He did end up getting that last out, but he's working through some stuff. I think he'll be okay because he's a guy that Tennessee's going to need in those weekend leverage spots. But overall, pretty pedestrian day, I would say. Manny Marin headlines it for me, and Brady Frederick keeps on rolling. The Submariner looks pretty good out there. So yeah, big response opportunity this weekend. Lindsey Nelson Stadium, first SEC series of the year. So we'll see if the Bats can get it done like they did in Georgia. I mean, they didn't get necessarily the pitching that they would have loved, but we'll see if that pitching staff can bounce back and if the Bats can keep doing what they've been doing.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that series with Missouri this weekend here in a moment. But going back to, this midweek performance, because I do think it is important to get some of these guys that may have been struggling over the last couple of outings, couple of weeks, in the case of Jay Abernathy, to find a little bit of momentum. He did so yesterday, 2 hits, 2 runs scored. Garrett, what'd you make of Abernathy and the rest of this Tennessee club?
Yeah, it was nice to see Abernathy obviously have a solid day. It was something I talked about on Monday. I was a little bit concerned about how the bottom of this order was looking. He had a pretty rough series in Athens. And then Marin, obviously, as Alex said, 7-game hit streak. I mean, I'd say he's as hot hitting-wise as anybody in the entire conference. So you'd like to see that continue because he also kind of got off to an ugly start to the season at the plate. So nice to see him get going. And then, I mean, Trent Grindlinger, I mean, he's been hitting, good enough where you might start to see him a little bit on the weekends playing. 3 for 3 yesterday, triple, 2 RBIs. I mean, for a freshman that I think a lot of people didn't know a whole lot about coming into the season, he's made a little bit of a name for himself in some of these games. So interested to see kind of how he plays into some of the weekend series for the rest of the year. I mean, as for the pitching, when you have that many guys pitch, I mean, you're bound to have a couple of guys that come in that don't have their A-plus stuff. Eastern Kentucky's a formidable opponent. I mean, they're not obviously probably not going to be playing postseason baseball, but they're a solid team. They're going to get some hits on you, and that's what happened. Like Alex said, it is a little bit concerning hitting 5 guys, especially a couple of those are on 2-strike pitches. So just awarding free bases. I mean, the Kent State series was kind of one that really stuck out to me. I think you hit a lot of guys in that series, but definitely something to work on. Could be a little bit of the cold weather again still. I mean, it was in the high 30s yesterday. But I don't know. I thought it was a solid win. I don't know that you can take a whole lot from it. And obviously, you'll be playing probably the worst or the second worst team in the SEC this weekend, and you just hope that the Bats can continue because, I think pitching-wise, you'll be fine playing Missouri.
Going back to the mound, Taylor Tracy, once again, 1 hit allowed, just 4 batters, and struck out 4 batters, I should say, in his 3rd start of the year and 2 1/3 innings.
There you go.
Brady Frederick,
Quick learner.
4th victory of the season and 1 1/3 innings. Brett, what'd you make of the effort on the mound? And also, we talked Jay Abernathy yesterday. Specifically, what'd you make of him?
Yeah, he must have heard me is what the thing was. I told him maybe you need to move some people around. Maybe you just need a day off, and obviously that didn't happen, and maybe it was a good thing. He he got a couple hits. Hopefully that helps his confidence because he's an important player. He's a versatile guy, play infield, outfield, and things like that. The pitching is what it is. It was just kind of going through the motions yesterday and things like that, just getting out there and getting some guys some bats and some guys on the mound because you don't know who you're going to need. You got Mark Hindy out there and some of these guys experienced guys that you'll probably need down the stretch. Frederick getting some run again. So, it was just a good overall performance. And, again, the bats continue to stay hot. Levi Clark, another RBI hit, got on base twice. So he's coming around as well. So you like what you're seeing side of some of these guys. With Ford out, you had some guys step in and play some new roles, hit new batting order and things like that. So, it was good to see just to get out there with a win. And like I said, this is an important week. You need to go 4-0. So that's a good start to the week.
Buck on the YouTube chat says, so after beating, in your words, not a very good team, 10-3, are they on their way to Omaha?
Yes, we are, Buck.
Yes.
Where else do you go as a Tennessee baseball?
Exactly. You foreshadow to this weekend. Missouri comes into town. Tennessee's first SEC home series of the season. Obviously fell over the weekend 2-1 to Georgia, in which the Sunday rubber match game was full of drama. Tennessee got off to a really hot start. Probably left a guy on the mound a little bit too long. Georgia was able to reclaim the lead, and then the Volunteers, for a moment, for about 4 seconds, looked like they were about to have a walk-off win.
Got me off the couch.
And unfortunately, the Vols ended up on SportsCenter, but for the wrong reason, and fell to the Bulldogs. But again, bouncing back, getting a win, a little bit of momentum is good. But this Missouri team this weekend, Alex, what do you make of them? And is this a sweep opportunity or a must-sweep opportunity for Tennessee?
I don't know if you can categorize anything in baseball as a must-sweep, but it's probably as close as it gets. I mean, Missouri got swept at Auburn last weekend, but, 2 of the games were close. So, but I think you need that Tennessee's pitching staff to bounce back. Those guys are very quality arms, and I think Missouri's lineup is a good one for them to face coming off quite literally one of the best in the country in Georgia. So it's quite, the pendulum swing there. But I think your focus has to be on the pitching. I think the hitting will keep going, with guys like Marin, and you'll get Henry Ford back, presumably. So I think your lineup's going to be fine. But you would like to see the pitching get back to, the dominance that I think they're capable of. And I think they will. So I think they probably will sweep this weekend. But I wouldn't be surprised if Missouri grabs a game. But they definitely should take care of business.
Garrett, to you, do you echo that? A spot where Tennessee should get a sweep, or do you feel like Missouri's going to make this a little bit tighter than anticipated?
Yeah, you definitely got to take 2 out of 3. I mean, I don't think you can walk into any SEC series, obviously, and say it's a sweep or go home mentality. I mean, I think that you're obviously pretty much anyone in the SEC is good enough to sweep Missouri and South Carolina if they play good baseball. They're significantly worse than the other 14 teams in the league. That's just the way it is. I think Mizzou's a little bit better, though, of a team than they were last year. I mean, obviously, first 19 innings of the Auburn series, they only gave up 6 runs. Obviously, their pitching was pretty good in those games. They lost the final game of the series 9-2. But, I mean, I think our starting pitching has been good this season. I think you feel confident in what you have in Coons, Mack, and Blanco. I think you saw that in the Georgia series. Your starting pitching was very solid. Bullpen on Sunday was a little bit shaky. But hopefully that was a learning experience, when to take out the pitcher that you need to. Obviously, we talked about, we thought Krenzel was in there for a little bit too long. Would have liked to have seen Frederick come in, or, if you were going to bring Rudy in, bring him in before the bases were loaded there. So hopefully it's a learning experience. Hopefully your bullpen bounces back this weekend. I think if your bullpen's good and you continue the hitting that you've had, you do sweep. You do sweep this weekend.
Tennessee opens its home conference slate and will look to earn its first SEC Series win this weekend when it hosts Missouri for a 3-game set starting on Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Loaded Friday afternoon window for Tennessee Athletics. Basketball at 4:25, baseball at 6:30, and the Lady Vols are at 8 up against NC State. So a lot to get ready for on Friday. A big Orange Friday, literally. For Tennessee Athletics. When we come back, we'll wrap up Hour 1. Stay right here. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio.
Catch up with all things Fan Run by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Hi, this is Bo Kregner from the Kregner Group at Realty Executives, and I know there's a lot of choices here in East Tennessee when it comes to choosing a realtor. Here's why the Kregner Group is different. At the Kregner Group, our motto is walking by faith, serving others. It's how I live my life. It's how I run my business. Here at the Kregner Group, we're committed to doing real estate the right way. Faith, honesty, integrity. The Kregner Group. Call me anytime at 865-742-1035 or visit my website at boknowshouses.com.
Surfside is made with vodka, real tea, and real juice, and has only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. That's right. No bubbles, no troubles. That's why Surfside was named the 2025 Spirit Brand of the Year by MarketWatch. Their variety packs come with options: iced tea, lemonade, or green tea. Find your flavor by trying them all. Surfside, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older to enjoy. Party smart.
Welcome to Axle Logistics, where excellence isn't just a goal, it's an energy. As a leading third-party logistics company, Axle is powered by an award-winning culture built on a work hard, play hard mentality. Here, the drive for success is contagious and hard work never goes unnoticed. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up, Axle Logistics is the place to launch your career. Join us and take your ambition to the stars. To learn more, visit axlelogistics.com.
All right, rounding out things in hour number one. Big March Madness breakdown coming up in hour two. And David Speaks chimes in talking about Michael Brown for Louisville. Going to be out this weekend for the Cardinals. They open with South Florida in a game that is very particular to one of my models and criteria that I follow in some of these first-round matchups. Last year, we were successful in such a matchup. So we'll talk more about that in hour two. But there are a couple of injuries kind of going down right now for a number of teams. Now, like the Texas Techs, like we all know, JT Toppin's out, and that dramatically affects how far they can go. But, you know, for Duke's got a couple of injuries as well that are noteworthy. You know, starting guard likely going to be out until the Final Four. Center could return round of 32. Now, again, Siena is not getting them knocked out early on. And then they would match up in that second round, most likely against Ohio State, who's playing good basketball right now. And Ohio State took Michigan, gave them a run for their money last week in the Big Ten championship, or Big Ten tournament, I should say. But injuries like this are
Caleb Wilson.
Yeah, Caleb Wilson.
We've known for a while, but
yeah,
just like Toppin, though, you know, it really affects what North Carolina does.
I think, and then the Aiden Holloway situation, obviously not an injury, but that Hofstra-Alabama game is very interesting now because Hofstra is a good team. Hofstra's got a really good guard and
good defense too.
Yeah, good defense. So the injuries at this time of the year are just brutal. And thankfully, Tennessee dodged a bullet with Nate Ament, at least for the time being, knock on wood. Because when he suffered that injury against Alabama, I thought that was I thought that was an ACL. I thought this thing was over. So thankfully, Nasty
And
Nate
it wasn't his knee at all, right?
No, yeah, it wasn't
his
even.
ankle.
Yeah, and I'm just talking from my point of view. It
Yeah.
happened right in front of me in the stands. I'm like, oh my
It just
gosh,
looked like a whole leg.
yeah. I was like, oh, because I don't know if you guys have ever witnessed an injury like that, like maybe at a game or I mean, hopefully not in high school or anything like that when you guys were playing, but you know, just witnessing an injury like that. And I've seen worse. I've seen where a guy just actually, just blows it.
Oh, in person, or are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, on TV, we've seen it. They don't show the replay.
And just when
But
you
know
when
what
you
they
see
do,
it in person, you're like, oh my gosh.
You hear it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not here. I mean,
I've heard
really
in person.
I've seen Nick Chubb in 2015
I
when
was
we
gonna
played
say
Georgia.
I wasn't at that game, but a lot of people.
I was at that game. I mean, I was a kid.
I thought you were talking about the Steelers injury.
No, I'm talking about when he destroyed his leg when we played him in 2015. I mean, I was like 12 years old, but I remember that injury really bad.
So there are always those moments. But I mean, for Amon, I thought that was it. Like I was a surrender cobra, hands up, because I don't, everyone else in the stadiums, wanting Tennessee to beat Bama. I'm wanting Nate Ament to return. That's the season on the line.
Yeah.
I couldn't focus on the game for the next 5 minutes up until halftime. But injuries this time of year really, really tough, and there are a couple of teams that have some. Also interested to see, once we get into this tournament environment, Darren Peterson's kind of cooled off on the cramps. Does that pop up again here in the tournament?
He just hadn't been playing good, like straight up.
Yeah,
him and Kingston Fleming's kind of, I don't know,
hit the rookie wall.
Kingston really kind of, I feel like his stock kind of declined a little bit.
Well, remember about a month and a half ago, we did the all freshman team, all sophomore team, senior. The reason why I valued the seniors in those hypothetical games, not a hypothetical guy, but we did it in that case, is because those guys have experience and they don't have as many ebbs and flows in terms of their performance as a freshman does. Like Fleming is incredible, but like he has kind of flown under the radar as of late because he hasn't had those big
bring
games.
Acuff in for him.
Well, Acuff's fine. I love Acuff. Acuff's the future Grizzly.
Oh my god.
He's
not.
I'm dead serious. I'd take Acuff one. Like I think he is that good.
Like you think he's not only the best point guard, but best player in the country?
I know what I get with guards. I know what I'm going to get with him. With DeBonsa, I think he's great. Boozer would be right there with him. I mean, I think Boozer is really, really talented in himself, but also with these bigger guys, these forwards and centers, having to go up against the type of bodies in the NBA, that takes some adjustment.
That's why I wonder about Acuff. He's not that big.
But there are a lot of there are a lot of guys like that in the league that are good. Like, I mean, Jalen Brunson's not a very big dude, but he's crafty.
He's thick.
Well, he's 19 years old. He'll get bigger.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson at 29 might be thick,
He was
but
winning national championships.
well, that was he had a great coach. I mean, I guess there are a lot of.
They had a good
parallels.
team too.
Yeah,
DiVincenzo, Mikal Bridges.
I like Acuff a lot though. He's a baller.
Playing with Ja.
Well, I don't know how much.
Playing with Javon Small.
Oh gosh,
Meshack.
You like that pool?
Well, he's not going to be in South Haven. He's not going to be in South.
Coward and
Huffle.
Acuff, the future.
Now that is what I'm talking
Edie?
about. Acuff, Edie, and Coward, the next gen Grizz.
Nashville Grizz.
No. We'll take that to break. March Madness breakdown coming up next. My bracket packet officially released. We'll break it down when we return right here on the Playbook.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox. Fox Sports Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
At Knoxville Insurance Group, they understand the challenges many consumers face when searching for insurance coverage. That's why whether it's for you, your family, or your business, they create a coverage plan specifically for your unique needs. Knoxville Insurance Group is an independent firm, which means they aren't beholden to just one insurance company. They search multiple companies acting as your negotiator to find you the best possible policy and price. Start a quote in minutes at KnoxvilleInsuranceGroup.com or call them today at 865-694-9788.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Here we go. Hour number 2 on a Wednesday, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's the Playbook on Fan Run Radio with Brett Hullander, Garrett Armbrust, and Alex Sarkis joining you. I'm William Pattison. Great stuff in hour number 1. We'll continue it here in hour number 2 with some great nuggets for your March Madness bracket. It's that time of year. I mean, you got about less than 24 hours now to get it done. As the games tip off tomorrow at 12:15, I believe. I think first game is South Florida and Louisville.
Like 11.
Okay, even before that?
Yeah, I think there's 2 of them before that.
Even before that. Okay. Well, here in a moment, I'll give my bracket packet, my 2026 NCAA tournament bracket guide. 4th year in a row of doing it. Will we have the champion for the 4th straight year? Yes, we will, because there's only one team that can win it.
Yeah, you're
only
right.
one. Well, yes, there's only one team, Brett, that can win it. But there's only one team historically that fits all the criteria. We'll talk about
I know
that.
you picked the winners, but I'm more interested in the bracket as a whole, how this model
Well, that
works.
will be done tonight.
Okay.
That will
Well,
be
I'm just talking about, does this, because your metrics are,
Well, here's
building-
how I'll explain how
Okay,
I
go
do
ahead.
it.
Yeah.
But I got to get the champ first, because that means that one's going all the way, and then I get into the other stuff. So we'll talk about it.
Okay.
But the bracket packet, and then also we'll just discuss the tournament overall as everyone's filling out their brackets currently, or maybe making some last-minute additions or subtractions to it. We've got you covered over the next hour for everything you need to know, the tips and trends and much more on the NCAA tournament. So plenty to cover in hour 2. Let's get right into it. And despite Brett's comments before the show of confusion of what he was looking at, and
It's like Zach Galifianakis' little meme with all the numbers and counting card thing.
look,
Hangover
I think
movie.
one person once said a messy brain or a messy room tells a creative person or something like that. I think somewhere out there. But we'll begin with the bracket guide history. William, you don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot. Well, that says otherwise here. 2023, there was only one team that fit all the criteria listed. And that was number 4, UConn. They won the national championship. Number 4 seeded UConn, by the way, who won the national championship. In 2024, there were only 2 teams that fit all criteria. That was number 1, UConn. They won the championship. And then number 1 seeded Purdue, who was the runner-up. And then in 2025, only 3 teams fit all criteria. Number 1, Florida was the winner, But also last year we had Auburn and Houston. And last year was just a loaded group of 1 seeds. Yeah. And it kind of, again, is this year, but that doesn't matter. We'll continue to go through it. All right, here we go. We'll begin with the championship criteria, fact-based stuff, because there is some stuff that is a little loose. But this is concrete. 100% of champions since 2002 were top 57 in adjusted offense and top 37 in adjusted defense going into the tournament. The teams that apply: Duke, Arizona, Michigan, Florida, Houston, Iowa State, Illinois, Purdue, Michigan State, Gonzaga, UConn, Vanderbilt, Virginia, Nebraska, Tennessee, St. John's, Louisville, Texas Tech, Kansas, St. Mary's, Iowa, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Villanova. William, that's almost every team in the tournament. We're just getting started. The notable teams that do not apply, though: Arkansas, Alabama, Wisconsin, BYU, Ohio State, UCLA. So this way you can start moving down the list of who's out and who you're moving on with. Every champion since 2002, except for one, was top 21 in offense going in. So out of that laundry list of teams I listed off in that first criteria, here are the ones that fit this model from that pool, and that's Duke, Arizona, Michigan, Florida, Houston, Iowa State, Illinois, Purdue, Vanderbilt, Louisville, and Texas Tech. So this is really your core. This is your core group of possible champions, and everyone else was eliminated. No team has ever won the national championship after losing their first conference tournament game. Notable teams that apply this year, folks: Big Ten, that's Illinois, Nebraska, and Michigan State. For the SEC, that's Alabama. For the ACC, that's North Carolina, if you wanted to go that route. And then in the Big East, you've got Villanova. Dating back to 2014, elite offenses, top 10, with very good defenses, top 35, continue to be the magic ticket to championships according to Hazelmetrics. And the teams that fit that criteria: Michigan, Purdue, Illinois, Duke, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Vanderbilt. 100% of champions since 2002 were top 40 in offense and top 22 in defense after winning the tournament. So while that doesn't apply pre-tournament, I always list it because it's interesting to see where these teams would place. And Tennessee is one of them currently, guys. Duke, Arizona, Michigan, Florida, Houston, Iowa State, Michigan State, Gonzaga, UConn, Virginia, and Tennessee would fit that post-tournament criteria currently. Now we'll get a little bit skinnier here. More of these contenders. 11 straight national champions have bolstered a top 10 adjusted offensive efficiency rating while also fitting all of the above criteria. That narrows us down to 4 teams, folks: Duke, Arizona, Michigan, Florida. William, they're the 1 seeds. Of course they're really good. Hold on. We're getting there. Since it was introduced in the 2018-19 season, every champion was ranked in the top 14 in the first net rankings of the season and top 8 in the net at the start of the tournament. The teams that apply for that: Duke, Arizona, Michigan, Gonzaga, Iowa State, Florida, not listed on that one. And then you go back to the team rankings defensive efficiency metric, and this is since 1998. All but one champion, that was Villanova in 2018, has had a defensive efficiency number higher than 9600. So obviously in defensive ratings, you're trying to get as low as you can get. Anything higher than 96, not that great of a number. Under that threshold, Duke, Arizona, Michigan, the other teams that we've also talked about: Gonzaga, Iowa State, Houston, Nebraska, St. John's, and UConn. No team that has began the season unranked and ended up as a top 2 seed has ever made the Final Four. No teams apply this year, but I will say last year it was St. John's was one of those, and Michigan State. Now, Michigan State obviously marched to the Elite Eight, but St. John's was an early exit to Arkansas. And then according to Bart Torvik, and this is the most damning evidence that really narrows this thing down, according to Bart Torvik, since 2008, there have been 14 number 1 seeds with a negative turnover margin. Just 4 of them have been able to make it to the Elite Eight, and only one of them has made it to the national championship game. And that was Purdue in the 2023-24 season. The teams that apply this year, not in a positive way, Florida and Michigan, two teams that do not have a good turnover margin, and it is negative. So that's the concrete, fact-based criteria. Now here's where we get a little bit silly, but it does apply, and it has applied in the past. Every champion since 2004 was top 12 in the Week 6 AP poll. And that was Arizona, Michigan, Duke, Iowa State, UConn, Purdue, Houston, Gonzaga, Michigan State, BYU, Louisville, Alabama. Every champion since 2007 was undefeated through Thanksgiving. Our teams that are still up for the criteria still apply here. 100% of champions since 1990 are from a conference with 4+ representatives. Affected conferences that have less than 4, the Big East and West Coast Conference. And 100% of champions since 1998, Brett, you'll like this one, have been located on the right side of the middle of the United States, which basically cuts down the middle of Texas. The affected teams would be Arizona, Gonzaga, and BYU in terms of the top contenders. And the teams that fit all the criteria and the only team that can win the national championship is Duke.
Is that why they've been gold the whole time?
That's why they've been gold the whole time, so you can keep track of it. Duke will be my team. Yes.
Okay.
Really good work, William Patterson.
It's not even over.
What a
We're only halfway
dissertation.
through this thing.
Oh, we're only halfway through.
You're not looking at it?
I am, but I didn't know we were only halfway through.
Well, that's my championship criteria. So
Okay.
that's always the first thing I do. I'm trying to find the winner. And then after that,
You fill in the rest?
is filling in the rest. So
Wow.
here's some good tidbits and tricks and trends for the rest, because if you're going to have the winner, that's great. You're going to have the most possible point, the biggest possible point pool at the very end. But in a year like this where it's chalk, and if you guys look on ESPN Tournament Challenge, the number 1 team picked is Duke. And I don't like being the chalk guy, but again, I got to divvy it all down.
Yeah.
I think this year it's going to be really important to get the Sweet 16 and some of those round of 64 stuff correct. So the Final Four criteria, outside of having a team that you believe will make it all the way, 11 of the last 12 Final Fours have included a team that went undefeated in non-conference games. That's Vanderbilt, Nebraska, Iowa State, Miami of Ohio, and Arizona. Arizona is a team that I believe will make it to the Final Four. Now, I know they haven't made it past the Elite Eight, and that's a bugaboo for them, but I do think this Arizona team is different. Sweet 16 criteria, I went 5 for 5 on this last year. A big reason why I was able to kind of jump back from a tough round of 64. 21 out of the last 23 teams over the past 4 years that have been inside the top 25 and adjusted O and D have made at least the Sweet 16. And I think it's good to include all of these teams in your bracket into the Sweet 16. It's up to you, but there is one team that I'm going to have a little bit put to the side. We'll discuss that here in a moment. But those teams, folks, are Duke, Arizona, Michigan, Florida, Houston, Louisville, Iowa State, and Michigan State. I'd have those teams in your Sweet 16. History tells you that 21 out of 23 in the last 4 years are going to make it. The only team I have kind of on the side there is Louisville because of Michael Brown. And also, I don't think they're playing great basketball at this moment. And then the round of 64, obviously there are a lot of easier matchups, the 1s and 16s, that 2-15. But for some of these kind of 4, 5, 6 seeds, you want to weed one of those out. Since 2000, at least one team that was ranked in the top 6 of the AP poll at any point in the season did not win a game in the tournament, and that's happened 23 out of the last 24 years. So that's either Purdue, Nebraska, Iowa State, Florida, Gonzaga, Michigan, UConn, Louisville, Houston, St. John's, Illinois, Arizona, or Duke. And I've got a couple in gold here. I look at Nebraska up against Troy. Nebraska's never won a tournament game. Now, neither have the Trojans, but I do like what the Trojans boast. They've got 2 really solid players and averaging over 14 points a night. St. John's is another interesting one because the Red Storm did not play great in the out-of-conference. And I think their style of play really mirrors what you want to do in the Big East, mirrors Big East style of play. And then Louisville's also another team on that list. So picking one out of that group is smart too. My fake tough guys. I've always done these, and sometimes they look a little bit better than others. But some big-time examples of this. Duke in 2012 when they lost to Lehigh. Ohio State in 2021 when they lost to Oral Roberts. We all remember that Oral Roberts team. Last year, my lock of the tournament was Drake over Missouri because of this, and that was an 11 over a 6. You guys remember Oakland and Duke?
Talk about them all the time.
Oh, I had that too. I had Oakland over Duke, or Oakland over Kentucky, I should say. Sorry. Oakland over Kentucky. And then Clemson and Baylor. So those are recent examples of this. And the criteria is a top 6 seed, top 25 in raw offensive efficiency that's outside the top 150 in raw defense. And this is why I always bang on Alabama and in years past on Kentucky, because they're really lopsided. Really good offense, don't do a whole lot defensively. Alabama's always on here. I can always count on them. But the 4 teams that apply, Purdue, Arkansas, Alabama, Wisconsin. Now, technically Purdue's inside 150, but it's close at 143, so I added them in. But those teams right there are interesting. And Arkansas and Wisconsin can match up in that round of 32. So an interesting spot there. Walking on ice, these are teams that have not played good basketball as of late coming into the tournament. Kansas has been a team usually on this list in years past. And last year they lost round of 64. Memphis last year was on this criteria, lost in the round of 64. Illinois lost the round of 32. Purdue and Michigan lost the Sweet 16. So I never have these teams advancing past that Sweet 16. And the teams that apply this year in terms of top 8 seeds, Louisville, in the last month of the season compared to the first, went from 13th in Bar Torvik to now 31st. North Carolina, obviously affected by Caleb Wilson, 23-48. Clemson, 27-50. But I think Louisville is the real key one there. Trending up, these are teams on the opposite side. Not great in the first half of the season and a majority of it, but have been playing great basketball as of late. That's Ohio State, 40-6. UCLA, 36-14. South Florida, 66-27. One of the games last year that fit both of these was Colorado State and Memphis. Colorado State was on this trending up direction last year. Memphis, a team trending in the wrong direction. This sets up for an automatic 11 over 6 for me. Louisville, South Florida, I take the Bulls here because of the trending in the right direction versus the trending in the wrong direction. Also, Michael Brown going to be out for this one too. So those are a couple of trends, tips, tricks, and notes. That is my official bracket packet. Interested to see what you guys think of this. Did I talk too much? Is this a segment we don't do next year? I've done it every time I've been at Fan Run. I've always done it, but I know it is like 15 minutes of me talking, which some people like and some people don't. What do you guys make of it? Any gripes? Any thoughts?
I'm impressed. This is great.
Thank you.
And I'm going to sit down and right after the show's over, I'm going right down the bracket, and I'm going to have one tab's going to have William Patterson's 2026 NCAA tournament guide,
to yours.
and the other half's going to have my bracket, and I'm going to look through the criteria. How long did this take?
Well,
I mean,
this is 3 years worth of stuff.
It's a running list. It's good, man.
But it takes about 2 or 3 hours to make on Selection Sunday night.
I mean, what? It's a good, how many pages?
That's
good 6 pages.
But, I mean, it's all the formatting, too. I think it's in, like, 14 font. I like to have the colors and stuff.
Color-coded?
Yeah.
It's good. You can get it laminated, printed out.
Yeah.
Ever thought about that?
Well, I used to send it out to people, but I haven't done it this year because I'm in a lot of the same bracket pools as them.
Better hope they weren't listening.
Well, I know. Well, that's the thing. I was thinking about it earlier. It's like no one listens to me anyway, so it doesn't matter. But they've all been trying to. Pat's bracket is the point of conversation over the last 2 weeks.
I thought people always say throw the numbers out the window in these one-off situations and things like that.
But these aren't one-offs, though.
Every basketball, I mean, you basically said the top teams in the bracket, though.
Well, I know, but in this year, the prime example of this, again.
Like, give me some sleepers. Where are the sleepers?
Well,
I mean, you said some 11 seeds. You said South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do you say? That sort of thing. Like, first round, if you're pretty successful in the first round, you're going to have a good bracket overall, I feel like. Or at least get to the Sweet 16. And that's what you've done, obviously.
I think it's always important to get the champion because if you're trying to win the bracket, you
Yeah.
got to have the champ.
Yeah.
That's where the most points are.
I thought it'd be more like getting the Final Four, more of those.
Well,
teams.
Final Four is important too, but if you've got the winner in that, the Final Four is basically like your championship criteria. So if you like, I always do. Like last season, there were 3 teams that could have done it, and it was Florida, Auburn, and Houston.
Yeah.
I made sure they all advanced to the Final Four, so I at least had the most amount of points possible. And I ended up going with Auburn, but Florida was on the list of the 3, and usually it is just one team. UConn, it was just one team.
Right. Yeah. There's only one.
And that's the ideal situation where it's like a 4 seed or not like one of the – I mean, Duke's the odds-on favorite to win it, and Michigan.
But they have questions.
And they do have questions.
Like, what's their injury? Yeah, like you can go through all these teams, even the top teams, and have questions about those teams. There's no doubt about it.
Buck, you didn't. Nebraska has never won a tournament game. Buck, not USC. But I think in a year like this, it is really important to try and get as many Sweet 16 teams. So the criteria I put in there for the Sweet 16 is trying to help that.
Yeah.
But it is chalky now. I just think the tournament's chalk, period, at this point, because the portal allows for a lot of
The
these
mid-majors aren't as good, right?
Yeah.
And I think the mid-majors still have some really, some
Good
really
players,
talented
yeah.
players. And it works both ways. And Garrett, interested to get your opinion on this too. A lot of people get mad. Barkley and all them were yapping about it last night, about how the portal takes all these mid-major guys away. And while I do agree with that, there are a lot of high major guys that go down to those schools and play at a high level.
Yeah.
So I feel like it works both ways, but it's only broadcasted on a national level for the guys that make the bigger jump to the power schools, because those are the ones we watch all the time.
Right.
I mean, like that Oakland team, Rocket Watts played for the Golden Grizzlies. Rocket Watts was one of the top guys out of his recruiting class.
Well, and didn't one of their players, I may be thinking of Townsend, he went to Arizona.
And Townsend
right?
went to Arizona.
Was that on that same team?
He was on that same team. Yeah, it was him, Golke, and Rocket Watts. But like Rocket Watts was a guy that was a 4-star, 5-star recruit.
Right.
So it works both ways. Garrett, what do you make of that in the tournament now? Obviously, it's gotten a little bit chalkier. But when you discuss the portal, does it work both ways, or is it more so affecting mid-majors than I'm at least trying to say?
I mean, I think it works both ways. I mean, I think obviously you see in like football, I think the group of 5 schools probably get hurt a little bit more. I mean, I think obviously last season people are going to say there weren't that many upsets last year, and there weren't. But I mean, there were still a handful of. I mean, Drake won. You had McNeese beat Clemson. Colorado State would have made the Elite Eight if it wasn't for a travel call that they should have called on the Maryland on their last second shot that they banked in.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was a Sweet 16, Elite Eight, one of the two. I mean, they were on a pretty good run. I mean, it was definitely lower than normal of teams that make it, but I mean, there were still a handful. The thing about March Madness is you just got to have one guy that goes off and you have a chance. Like Oakland won that game against Kentucky in 2024 because Jack Golke scored 35 points.
Yeah.
So you just have to have one guy that has a career game. And, I mean, weird things happen in March, And I think, obviously, NIL has probably hurt the transfer portals hurt the NCAA tournament a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, there's always going to be guys, too, that come from power programs that don't play, go down to mid-major team and play. I mean, you see that at power programs. I mean, Cohen Card didn't see the floor much at Tennessee, goes to Baylor, and he's their leading scorer.
Card, yeah.
So, I mean, that's just the way it works in college basketball.
Yeah, they're not even in the tournament.
Yeah.
What about the whole? I know football. We talk about the young quarterbacks. They don't get very far, but this tournament's loaded with freshmen. They're the prize of this tournament. Their big storyline. Does that factor in? Like Duke's led by a freshman. DeBonza. Acuff. A lot of good teams, but they're led by young players. And you talk about experience being a key in a lot of these big events.
Yeah, no, and I totally understand that. I really going into the tournament, I was all over Michigan. I really wanted to take Michigan because I ran this 2 weeks ago.
Their experience, yeah.
Yeah, I ran it 2 weeks ago, and Michigan was one of the teams that could still qualify, but they turned the ball over too much and went under in the negative turnover ratio. So I had to take them out. But I like Michigan a lot because of the veterans on the team. Elliot Cadeau played multiple years at North Carolina. Yaxel Lindenborg, a guy I talked about earlier, should be in the NBA.
Yeah, they're big. Yeah,
and I really like that team.
Yeah,
and I hate going against them, but again, the data backs it up. Otherwise, but for Duke, at some point, Duke has rolled out a ton of these teams. They haven't won the national championship since what, 2015? Is that right?
Yeah, 15. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the Zion Williamson team. You had the R.J. Barrett team. I guess.
Yeah, they're same
team.
Same team. Flag last year.
Flag and Zion, those were both freshmen.
Yeah. So
Duke had 5 pros, but they're all freshmen last year.
So at some point, I do think that it has to regress back to the mean, and they're able to get one, and I'm hoping that that's going to be this year. And I traditionally don't like backing freshmen, and I don't like going off of that. But Duke does have some guys that are not freshmen that are still valuable. I mean, Evans is a very valuable player for them. And,
he has to be. Okay, Foster out.
Yeah. So I also like their path. I just, for like a BYU, though, where they are not as loaded around him, I'm not trusting that.
If they had Richie Saunders, it'd be different.
Exactly. If they had Richie Saunders, I'd say otherwise.
Well, don't they have a good guard? What's the guy's name? He averages like 20 a game. I can't think of his name. They have another good player, and they got a pretty good big, but, it's DeBonce or bust for them,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to get his 30 a night if they can get some sort of help, with him. But I thought they had another guard outside of even Saunders that's been playing well.
What's his name? Robert Wright.
Yeah, Robert Wright.
They have that big man, too.
Keita.
Yeah, Wright transfer from Baylor. Keita's been there forever. I don't traditionally like going with freshmen. I know I'm doing it this year, but I think for a team like...
And do you lean more offensive teams in this a tournament like this, or you lean more defense?
Defense. Defense wins.
Okay.
That's why I can never get around Alabama, and they've proven me otherwise in some years.
Well, they don't do it at all.
Exactly.
Like, they did a little bit.
Exactly.
Like I was just wondering about like in Illinois, if they get hot, we've seen them win big basketball games. They were good in the Big Ten, things like that. They play decent defense.
But what's interesting, but in Illinois is still top 37 in defense. So where I value defense.
But you don't think Illinois defense, you think automatically shoot a bunch of threes.
Exactly. But
offense.
But when you go and look at the
They're led by
numbers
freshmen,
that back
too.
it up, it says, that they actually are a solid defense compared to other teams.
Right.
I look at those fake tough teams as groups that will never have advancing very far. And again, Alabama was an outlier a couple of years ago. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're always going to get out in the early rounds, but Miami and Alabama are the only two teams to advance to the Final Four out of that criteria, the fake tough guys, and that's 8 out of 36 teams that have fit that in the last, I believe it's 6 years, and I do that because that's modern basketball now. Transfer portal. I like to find stuff that is more recent in the last 5. It might not be a huge sample size, but like when you're talking about the 11-6 upset has happened, 60% of the time in tournament history, that also takes into consideration what happened when, the shorts were worn below the knees. And
because I feel like all these 11s, there's an argument to be made that they could win their basketball games, against the 6s that they face.
And I like,
maybe outside of Miami, Ohio, I think Tennessee beats them pretty easily, but I think the other ones could beat those 6s. I mean, you already said you thought Texas is going to beat BYU.
I've got Texas over BYU. Yeah.
I mean, Louisville now looks even more vulnerable against South Florida. North Carolina's the other one. They don't have Caleb Wilson. So VCU, I've
got VCU too.
Yeah, so.
And here's the other thing, strategic for you folks out there, strategic-wise for brackets. If you've got a team that is not going to advance to the Sweet 16, like let's say you have, like for example, I've got VCU over North Carolina.
That's as far as.
And VCU versus Illinois. I think Illinois advanced to the Sweet 16. So I'm willing to take the risk on the upset of getting some points off
You're
of.
okay to lose that first game.
I'll lose 10 points for taking VCU over North Carolina. But if I don't have them advancing any farther, I'm fine with it. And that's the same reason I'm considering just throwing Hawaii over Arkansas, because I don't think Arkansas is going to be able to do what they just did in the tournament. I think, they only go 7 guys deep. I love Acuff, but Acuff is going to get stopped at some point, and that group just played 4 games in a row last week and is now traveling. Hawaii's an interesting team too. They got some size.
And Arkansas's weakness is that, right?
6'7".
Oh, you're talking about
6'8". Oh, they got a 7'2" center too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hawaii.
Rainbow Warriors, huh?
Yeah. So we'll continue discussing it in an hour or two. We'll get more of you guys' opinion, not just a bunch of my bracket blabber, but talking those potential upsets in the round of 64, the teams trending up, trending down, who you believe is kind of under the radar heading in. We'll break it all down when we return right here on the Playbook.
For the fans, by the fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Are you ready for the start of a new season? Maybe looking for your team to go on a tournament run? Get game day ready with Crumble. Head on over to your nearest location and pick up 12 pre-selected cookies plus exclusive toppers. When you're looking for dessert options, there's no question about who you should call on. Our listeners already know. Last year, the Dubai chocolate was a home run, along with the brownie batter. Oreo crumb was another crowd favorite. What new flavor will set the standard this season? If you're in the Knoxville area, there are 3 locations ready to serve you: Clinton Highway, Parkside Drive, and Maryville. Download the Crumble app to build your best lineup and vote on the best combos. You can even put your bid in to request a new flavor. Order in the app and slide on over to your nearest location. Tell them Fan Run sent you, and as always, it's for the fans, by the fans. Don't miss the cookies.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco at Knoxville Smiles. Have you ever wanted to improve the look of your smile? We know firsthand what the power of a great smile means to a person's confidence and health. Our team of doctors can provide you with an array of options for helping you achieve your cosmetic goals. From simply moving teeth into a better position, to reversible cosmetic bonding, to full mouth implant-supported dentures. It is our goal to help patients feel good about their appearance while achieving optimal health. Want to learn more? Call us at 865-539-1776 to schedule an evaluation, or visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Fan Run Radio, the flagship station for Tennessee fans.
This ain't no wishy-washy, limp-wristed, kale-eating, half-ass sports radio station.
We're your in-your-face, truth-telling, say it loud, flag-waving, face-painting, hardcore, bring the noise, causing a ruckus, don't give a damn sports station.
Sports talk that doesn't just hang up and listen.
For the fans. This is Fan Run Radio.
Get some.
All right, back here on the Playbook. Coming up in about 28 minutes, it's The Drive with Russell Smith, Bob Baskerville, the Bear, and Walker Smith, rounding out your Wednesday here in K-Town. First 4 action tonight. Miami of Ohio and SMU doing battle in Dayton, Ohio. The winner gets the Volunteers on Friday. And once again, folks, if you've been checking during the breaks on the YouTube stream, join us at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria in the Old City on Friday, beginning at 1 o'clock with the Playbook. Yours truly, the Playbook, from 1 to 3, followed up by The Drive from 3 to around 4:15-ish as you lead up and get ready for Tennessee in the winter of Miami, Ohio, and SMU. at 425. Loosen up the tie, unbutton the shirt, go change and get into some orange and white, and come on down to the Old City and watch what the Fan Run crew. Should be a good time. Eyes on the tournament. We'll continue it. Potential round of 64 upsets. Gary and I, during the break, talking about it. There are like 4 games right now that I think a lot of people are kind of up in the air about. VCU, North Carolina, a 6-11. Louisville, South Florida, another 6-11. But I've already kind of given my opinion on that one. I'm taking the Bulls in this one, despite it being a kind of a public upset. That's the thing I don't like in most years, the public upsets. Mm-hmm. And last year, those public upsets did not fare well. But there's Ohio State TCU that's interesting.
8-9s are just hard.
Yeah, 8-9s are hard. And
7-10s are too.
7-10s are like Miami and Missouri.
That's hard.
I like the Tigers.
Yeah.
I like the Tigers. Especially, they're basically playing in their own building. They're playing in St. Louis.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Where the games are played, I think, matters too. Because Miami's traveling up from Florida, and Missouri's basically in their backyard there. And then
I feel like Georgia St. Louis is the same thing. Aren't they up there too? St. Louis playing there?
I don't know the exact location.
Yeah, they are.
That's another. That 8-9 game's tough too. I think.
Or no, they're not.
They're not.
Never
Okay,
mind.
I thought they were.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I think Iowa is easy over Clemson. I don't like the way the Tigers have played as of late, but
It's Jackson's team.
they gave Duke a little bit of a run for their money in the tournament. But Iowa, I like Sturts a lot, and I'm a big McCollum fan. And then what's the other 8-9 that I'm missing here?
Ohio State. You said them.
Iowa,
Villanova,
Iowa,
Utah
Clemson, you
State.
say that?
Utah State. Yeah,
Yeah,
Utah State. Yeah.
Villanova.
I like the Aggies in that, even though the Mountain West has not had much success in the tournament in the round of 64. I think this is a little bit of a different Aggies team, really good defensively. What's a round of 64 upset you guys are eyeing right now? Garrett, beginning with you.
I like Hofstra and Alabama. Hofstra has won, or excuse me, they've held their last 11 opponents since 70 or less points. I know points per game is a bad stat in college basketball. You want to look more at KenPom. But they have a top 20 like defensive points per game allowed, so it shows they slow the pace down. If Alabama comes out and makes a lot of threes, the game's over. But they rebound the ball well. Holloway's out. If they're able to control Phylon and they don't make a ton of threes and they can kind of control the pace a little bit, I think that's an interesting one. And then one that like nobody's on, and this one's kind of a flyer, but I would look at Cal Baptist over Kansas a little bit. They have Dominique Daniels on their team. He's the 5th leading scorer in the country. Averages, I think it's like 25 points per game, 23 points per game. He's a D2 transfer, 5th leading scorer in the country. They have some guys on their team that can score a lot of points. If Darren Peterson is not playing well, obviously they have a lot of guys, around their team, Bryson Tiller and some other guys that are their secondary pieces that are really good too. But if you're looking at a 13-4 game, that I think the team at least covers the spread, I think Cal Baptist could be the team that comes out of nowhere that nobody's picking that could be the upset that no one sees.
Cal Baptist, 15.5-point underdog to the Jayhawks, but this is a Kansas team that has struggled in years past before. Go back to 2 years ago, Samford. I still remember it. That was L.J. McCrary.
That block.
Should have been a block, and they
Yeah,
called a
that's
foul. I'll never forget. It was Bucky McMillan and company.
Oh, yeah.
Bucky ball.
Talk to me about Akron beating Texas Tech. Is that
Zero chance.
Zero chance?
Zero chance.
Okay.
Texas Tech will win that one. I know JT Toppin's out, but that's one of those popular upsets. I've heard a lot of
Yeah.
people say, Akron over.
Because their only loss in the conference is Miami, I guess, of Ohio. But
Santa Clara is only a 2.5-point underdog to Kentucky.
Is that yours?
Yeah, that was mine.
Santa Clara, Kentucky.
They're stunning. Yeah, I mean, the two teams are stunningly similar. What's
They have
going
the
on?
size to compete with them.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Santa Clara averages 82 points per game, Kentucky 80. Opponent point per game is almost the exact same thing. Kentucky's 2.5-point favorites. That one should be good.
And if you look at their roster, they have 7'1" center,
Yep.
6'10" center, 6'8" forward, 6'9" guard, 6'9" forward.
I took Santa Clara.
I did too.
Now, earlier in the week, I was talking about Kentucky.
Yeah, you were talking about Owe.
And I
He's a
love
difference
Owe.
maker, yeah.
But again, in terms of my bracket approach, if I have Iowa State winning that next game, there's really no point in me taking the – I mean, I guess, if you guess correctly, it's right. But I think that's one of those games where Santa Clara plays very similar in terms of points per game as to Kentucky, and that's a good team. It's very rare a West Coast Conference team gets an at-large bid that's not named Gonzaga or St. Mary's.
And they had some good wins.
Yeah, and they have some
They beat
too.
Xavier in non-conference. I mean, I know Xavier wasn't that great this year, but
So I look at that one, and then what do you guys think about Northern Illinois? Was it Northern
they
Iowa?
have the number one points per game defense in the country.
Northern Iowa and St. John's. That's one that's
Be a
been
low-scoring
staring at me
one.
since they announced it.
You just don't like St. John's.
I love St. John's. I love Patino.
Are they fake tough guy?
They're not fake tough. I loved them last year.
I didn't make a shot in that game.
And that's what scares me because they're not a shooting team. And Northern Iowa is not necessarily an offensive juggernaut they have to keep up with, but they are a really good defensive team. They limit three-point shots. Not that St. John's is a good three-point shooting team and needs to be held away from that, but even in the chance that they do need to make them, it's a bad three-point shooting team up against a really good three-point defense already.
Yeah.
I think that's really going to limit the amount of opportunities that St. John's has. Ejiofor is a huge advantage for them, but I look at that as another upset possibly. You guys have any thoughts on Northern Iowa and St. John's?
Just don't know if they score enough.
That is true.
That's the concern I have.
Yeah.
Is they don't the over-under in that game is 130 points.
That's crazy.
A lot of defense.
And I just don't know. That conference this year that Northern Iowa plays in too was a little bit down this year. That's usually one of the more better mid-major conferences. And I don't know. I just feel like Ejiofor is going to be too much for them to take.
Aren't St. John's on a bit of a run right now? We talk about.
I mean, they won the Big
Storm
East this
coming
year.
in.
The Big East this year was so bad.
Yeah, it was.
It was so bad.
They
but
put on UConn, right? In
yeah,
the
I mean
final?
they beat UConn badly in the Big East tournament game, and they got them once during the regular season as well. Can we talk about the Rainbow Warriors?
Sure, let's do it.
Williams guys.
I mean, if they can control Acuff, I think they have a chance.
I do too. I look at point spreads for some of these games though, and it tells me whether Vegas thinks this is going to be a little bit of a nail biter or a closer one than expected than the actual seed.
15.
And it's 15.
Wow.
And that's what scares me away from it. Now, no team is going to be favored, but like VCU, North Carolina is a 2.5 point favorite for the Tar Heels.
Yeah.
That tells me, okay, yeah, I'm on the right side with VCU, or having them in that spot.
That's how Kentucky and Santa Clara is too.
Yeah, and that exactly.
I think Brazil would be a massive factor in that Arkansas game because he
Malik
played
Thomas too.
He played really good in the SEC championship game, and I mean he's 6'10". I mean
Billy
he's been in college.
Richmond.
He's 23 years old. He's been in college basketball for a minute.
And a lot of people are looking at High Point in Wisconsin. Now, High Point was a popular upset last year, and I feel like sometimes that popular upset from the year before that makes it back into the tournament is the year they actually get the win. And Wisconsin is one of those fake tough teams, and that's just an interesting pod. Wisconsin, High Point, Arkansas, Hawaii, two teams that I think could get upset, but also right now in my current bracket, I've got both of them advancing with Wisconsin winning the second one, but High Point's another popular team.
High Point's got longest win streak in the country going right now, I think.
And they shoot the jeans off the ball.
They got the one guy that shoots like 50% from three and like 15% from two.
Yeah.
They're scoring 90 points a game, holding opponents to 70.
And what worries me about like a team like Arkansas, I mentioned it earlier in the week, Arkansas just played in the SEC title game on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's a lot of wear and tear, then have to get up and leave. And where's this game being played? Let me see.
I think it's out west.
That is in
Portland, Oregon.
Portland.
Moda Center.
Yeah.
So Hawaii, that's not too far away. I mean, in terms of travel, Hawaii kind of lucked out with that one.
Direct flight, I would assume.
Moving into some teams that I think could maybe get a little interesting, maybe find their way into the Sweet 16. Let me ask you guys about this one. So UCLA matches up with UCF in that first round. UCLA has been playing much better basketball in the last month of the season. They've got a kid in Donovan Dent that I like a lot. Comes back from my time watching Mountain West basketball at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday night in college. What about UCLA over UConn, round of 32?
Cronin loves going to the East Coast, doesn't he? That game's I think they play in Philly, maybe.
That game is
that would be the
because I think there was a meme going around.
Well, that would be the sweet.
Their first
that
round
would be in
was
Philly.
the East Coast, I thought.
It would be in Philly,
do hate
and that'd be
that.
the round of 32 matchup.
So they've
in
turned
Philly.
it around since all that stuff we talked about with him.
They've kind of turned it around.
UConn goes on
Yeah,
these
that's
scoring droughts too, where they just don't score for 5 minutes. And they've had some games this year where they've lost to some. I mean, they lost to Georgetown this year.
How good's UCF though? I don't know much about UCF.
They can score. They beat
UCF's well
Kansas.
coached.
They beat Kansas.
UCF's well
West
coached.
Virginia beat Kansas. I don't know. That
Yeah.
seriously. West
No,
Virginia
but I'm
beat
saying
BYU
the
Kansas.
UCF was a solid team in the Big
Yeah.
12, and in my opinion, the Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball this
Yeah,
year.
no, I'll agree, but
Riley Kugel leads them in scoring. Florida and Mississippi State transfer.
Okay, yeah, I did recognize it.
If there's one team, one power conference team that you could see going on a run, maybe not an NC State run from a couple of years ago, but power conference team that's an 8-9
I like
seed
this
that
question.
you could see going to the Elite Eight.
Honestly, for me, it'd probably be UCLA. They'd rematch with Michigan State most likely in my bracket. I think UCLA could beat UConn, and then they play Michigan State in that Sweet 16. You win that one, you get a shot at Duke, which obviously I would lean otherwise. But
now, what was the question?
What power conference team that's a 6 to a 9 seed could you see making a little bit of a run? Because you saw obviously NC State a few years ago made the Final Four out of nowhere. They had to win the ACC just to get in.
what about Missouri too? Now I think Purdue's really good, but we talked yesterday, Brett.
Yeah,
Purdue played a lot of games in a row in the Big Ten championship.
they did. Did they play 4 days?
Mm-hmm.
They might have played 4 days.
And Missouri's
They were
really
7 seed.
unique. Mark Mitchell's a unique guard. I know he's a kind of a point forward, but a unique player to defend.
Well, if they get past Purdue, then they're moving on
It's
to
really not
the
that
BYU, Texas, Gonzaga, Kennesaw State pod, which Gonzaga to me is not that scary team.
No.
Do you think Texas could get him? Or I guess BYU in some cases for others.
I think Gonzaga could be around a 32 exit. They lost to Portland this year. They lost to St. Mary's in the regular season in the last game of their season. Obviously, St. Mary's is a good team. To me, this Gonzaga team, and Huff, I think he's still questionable.
Yeah, Huff's probably not going to be available.
To me, they're just not they're not a 3 seed.
I don't think Kennesaw gets them. But that Portland loss was one of the worst of the season out of any of these teams in the tournament.
28-point favorite that game, outright loser.
There's really not that many you can point to that's going to make a run in this. Just looking at it,
Yeah.
it seems like these top seeds are there for a reason.
Alex, what are you thinking on over there?
You know what I want to see? I want to see the Florida Vanderbilt rematch in a possible Sweet 16.
Mhm.
That's one that I've been, and I hope Vandy gets there because I really want to see that game. Just how Florida responds after getting really beat the brakes off. So Vandy's an interesting one for me. Just with the if they shoot and they play the way that they did against Tennessee, and man, that's a team that could go on a run. But I don't know. I think Florida's ultimately going to get back to the Final Four and back to the national championship game. But yeah, I like your Santa Clara pick. That was my one coming into this, was Santa Clara over Kentucky. But yeah, I agree with Brett. I don't know if the upsets that we're used to, I think it'll look a lot like it did last year in terms of the lack of true stunners in terms of upsets. I just think the best teams are the best teams. And, we saw that last year, and I think there's a good chance we see that again.
Lots of ones and twos.
This one would go completely against everything you had in your bracket packet. But if Texas A&M beats St. Mary's the first game, and then Houston beats Idaho, you think that's Texas A&M, full court, 40-minute press, your face off the entire game could be because Houston sometimes has a little bit of a problem scoring the ball. Now, obviously, they have one of the better defenses in the country, but I just feel like buckyball in the tournament is a style that's not – you don't really want to face that getting pressed for 40 minutes.
Do you feel like Houston's a team that could handle that, though?
Yeah, they got 3 good guards.
They got a couple of good guards.
And they're just so veteran. They're such a veteran group.
They kind of play that way, too, where they want to make you feel uncomfortable. That Houston Texas A&M game a couple of years ago in the tournament was great.
Yeah, but like if Flemings isn't playing great and Sharp is like such a hot cold shooter sometimes.
Yeah.
Like if he's cold from 3 in that game and Flemings has like his C
I
game.
just feel like they're going to get crushed on the glass.
Yeah.
I mean, they got, what's his name? Agee's 6'9" He's down there by himself.
I mean, Texas A&M, I mean, I don't know. They just, I mean, I know they fell off at the end of conference play, but I mean, their first 10 games of the season in SEC play, I mean, they were up in the top, third of the conference. I mean, they were leading the conference through the first month almost.
Wrapping things up when we return right here on the Playbook.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, 0 carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Citizens National Bank.
Life is more fun with a Good Life checking account from Citizens National Bank, offering extra benefits including bank travel. This September, experience the perfect fall getaway on the New England Rails and Sails Tour, or join CNB in October to chase the Northern Lights in Iceland. Get in on the fun by calling 865-429-7935.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
At Knoxville Insurance Group, they understand the challenges many consumers face when searching for insurance coverage. That's why whether it's for you, your family, or your business, they create a coverage plan specifically for your unique needs. Knoxville Insurance Group is an independent firm, which means they aren't beholden to just one insurance company. They search multiple companies, acting as your negotiator to find you the best possible policy and price. Start a quote in minutes at KnoxvilleInsuranceGroup.com or call them today at 865-694-9788.
Back here on the Playbook. I don't know when to come back. From this. There we go.
Sometimes there's music. Sometimes there's already music in the system on this.
No, I mean, it's groovy.
Yeah.
It's groovy. I mean, it sets up for
what?
Final thoughts on this Wednesday. Final
Where
thoughts.
was that headed?
Yeah, just sometimes you think things and you probably shouldn't say it.
Yeah.
So just wrapping things up on this Wednesday. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Coming up next, it's The Drive. They're debating who's got the best NBA handle outside. Bear says it's Jason Williams all time. And I said right off the bat, Kyrie Irving.
Oh, yeah, it's Kyrie.
And then
I didn't know if they were talking about today's game.
No. I mean,
it's Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie with some ACLs probably would still have it. But
yes.
Tournament on the horizon. I guess this is the final time we'll be on here before the action officially gets going, because it tips off tomorrow, which is going to be brutal. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do. I guess I'm going to have the games pulled up on here or whatever. We'll have to figure it out. But have you guys filled out your bracket officially? You got your team? You want to call your shot before we go into the best? Because the next time I'll see you, Garrett, is on Friday. I won't see you again until next week.
Yeah.
Right now I'll be kicking it once again tomorrow. But Garrett, your pick for the champ.
To win it all?
Yeah.
I get Arizona. I said that like a month ago. I'm gonna keep it that way. I've not filled out my bracket yet, though. I wait till the first 4 games are over before I fill out my bracket. I want to know who wins those games.
Oh, I thought you were talking about on Thursday. You wait for the first 4 games to get in.
No.
Okay.
I wait for like the games tonight to end. And then I'll
Okay,
feel, like, I know who I'm gonna pick, but like
Yeah.
I just don't put it on a bracket until
Yeah.
I know what those games.
No, I respect that. I thought.
How do those games change your pick, though?
Well,
Like,
I mean,
I feel
if
like-
NC State, like the NC State Texas game last night, changes things a little bit for me.
But did you think one of those teams would beat BYU no matter what?
Well, I think Texas has a decent chance of winning.
Better than NC State would against
Yeah.
BYU? Okay.
I've got Michigan, but it's probably going to change once I go back and use Williams' bracket sheet.
There we go.
I don't know. Champions are the hardest thing to pick for me. It's just like
that's why I try to simplify.
It's so hard, and I'm never good at brackets. I feel like I don't know. Like I'll have a hunch, and then like I've got Santa. Now that game's basically a pick 'em with Santa Clara and Kentucky, but I've got Santa Clara in that game. But Kentucky will go out and win that game, and I'll feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
It's just stuff like that.
Bracket will be busted within the first
No, it
4
happens.
games, anyways.
But see, like last year, it wasn't
really.
So just it's all a hunch at the end of the day. I feel like.
Was it 2 years ago? It was Duquesne and BYU.
Oh, I love
I remember
Duquesne.
watching that
was
one.
awesome.
The Dukes.
I had like 7 iterations of my bracket. Like obviously, I did it way too hardcore that year.
I picked them to win that game.
Do y'all just fill out one
being a Pittsburgh
bracket,
guy.
or do y'all do? Because I have a roommate that filled out 25 brackets
That's
this
stupid.
year. I'm
I
like,
think I
dude,
have
what are we
4
doing?
right now.
Real quick on that topic, and I know we're right up against the break, and I asked for you guys' teams, but so the winner of last year's ESPN Tournament Challenge, the guy that finished number 1 overall, had the best bracket, did not get the money because apparently to win the prize, you have to do 25 total brackets on ESPN.
Is that still the case?
That's like the guy was sending text, or like put out on Twitter the text threads of him and the ESPN person. They said that it's one person is randomly selected that gets the correct team out of their 25 brackets or something like that. So I guess if you're trying to win money this year on a perfect bracket or having the best bracket, it would be Kalshi, even though I can't stand them. But Brett, you're
I think I have Duke in one of them, and so
you'll just pick which one's better for the one that you had.
well, I think I have one like Duke on a Yahoo, a couple of
Okay.
Yahoo ones, and I have like I think the one I entered here at work. I think I have Duke.
Okay.
Well, there we
So,
go.
wow.
Yeah, but that was before the bracket thing, so I'm giving you 0 credit.
Okay.
That was before the bracket.
Okay.
I'm giving William all my credit.
Okay.
Don't do that. We'll never hear the end of it.
Claim to Fame had a perfect bracket for a day and a half, or 2 days. In 2 days, the whole round of
That's
64.
first.
Correct.
And then I'm gonna use the money I win to buy him chilies.
Bang! There we go.
Don't keep bringing that up.
It's gonna happen.
Listen, are we not honorable men?
I about texted yesterday. I was sitting in the parking lot.
Allie goes to Milan and all these
I know.
places.
She's next week she'll be in.
You're probably going somewhere for the basketball, I'm sure.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, that's going to wrap it up for a Wednesday edition of the Playbook. We'll be back tomorrow, same time as always. For Brett Hullander, Alex Sarkis, and Garrett Armbrust, I'm William Pattison. Coming up next, it's a drive on Fan Run Radio.